All right, you guys, what's going on, man? We are back with another one. I'm actually in the middle of making some shirts, man, getting ready to ship out some stuff. I came across this post on Instagram by LMC talking about brand and should, cannabis brands be making content. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the video and then we're gonna talk about it.
The Jungle Boys, Dave for Garden Salon, from Backpack Boys, Ryan from Doja Pack, a bunch of other people. People don't necessarily trust brands nowadays. They trust the people that represent those brands. People trust people. And so now the personal brand, you've seen this in every industry now, personal brand for the CEO, the entrepreneur that represents that company is becoming more and more important. So what that means is that those entrepreneurs need to become like the content creators. Like you're starting to see it now. And it's only going to get bigger and bigger from here. Brands need to be 100% creating content. You need to have an identity, and some people like to be faceless brands, and I get that for sure, but every company situation is completely different. There's different routes to success, different ways to win, but you're starting to see with some of these bigger brands, they have a front-facing person. Almost all of them do, to a certain degree.
All right, so let's talk about it. Your cannabis brand. Before even having a person for the brand or representing the brand, you have the brand, the name, the logo, the aesthetic. You have your brand. Now in 2026, just having a brand, in my opinion, it's going to take more than that. Also, what he talked about in the video is all these brands, he gave examples, Cookies, Backpack Boys, Jungle Boys. The owners of those brands, the ones that are, doing the grows, doing the promoting, interviews, videos, the people behind the brand are making content. The people in charge of these brands are the ones out here doing the activations, making content, things of that nature. I guess the question would be, for you mom and pop cannabis brands, including myself, are you just posting your grows? Are you just posting, genetics if you have genetics, or flower if you have flower concentrates or whatever? Are you just posting pics of all that, hoping people will hit you up in a DM or fuck with you to get clientele like that? Are you just posting stuff like that, or are you yourself making content? For example, myself, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, you can go back over the months and years and see all the content we've been doing. This channel right here, this is, where we talk about stuff. I interview people, things of that nature. But if you go to my other channel, my Premium 91 growing channel, you'll see my grows and how far back, I've started recording and making content. My new page, Pollen Chucking Seeds, you'll start to see what I'm doing there. If you go to my Instagram, go down my feed and you'll see all the content I've been making, and not just posting pics of grows, clothing, genetics, but it's actually me, in the videos, talking about what I'm doing or what we got going on. I'm the face of my brand. Whenever I get out and go to events, whether they're seed shows or different things like that, I'm the one out shaking hands and representing my brand. So the question is, in 2026, are you just posting pics, hoping that, you'll attract people and you'll attract the crowd and, your people will find you? Or are you, I don't want to say a content creator, but are you a brand owner that creates content? And I feel like in 2026, you got to be a brand owner creating content. And another thing he was saying is, people don't trust, the brands. They trust the people behind the brands or the people in front of the brands, i.e. me for my brand, Premium 91, or Pollen Chucking Seeds, or you for your brand, whatever it is. As a brand owner creating content, that'll be the best way for people to get to know you, to kind of see a side of you that, comes out through your content, for people to be able to trust you, for people to be able to want to work with you. If no one knows who you are, if you don't really have a track record of what you've been doing and a body of work that shows that you've been putting in work, how are people going to trust you? Again, using myself as an example, if you go over to my Instagram profile and just scroll down, man, you'll see all the content that I've been dropping with me and my videos promoting my brand, showing you what I got going on, for that time that the video was being made. People that I meet out in person, everything aligns. What I'm talking about in the videos to, meeting up in person, my seeds, my genetics, everything that I've got going on has been on display. So it's like, if you're consuming my content, you're meeting me in person. If I show up for activation or if you place an order, everything's pretty consistent. And over that time, that consistency builds trust. And when people trust your brand and they fuck with it on top of that, they fuck with your movement, they fuck with whatever you're trying to do, that creates a loyal customer. Would you just trust some random brand that no one knows? You don't know who runs it. There's no person, that you can see making moves. It's just a wall with just whatever, and it's kind of sketchy. You're like, I don't really know. Or would you trust someone who you can see putting in that work, who you can see out in your neighborhood or at an event, they're out there networking. You can meet up with them to shoot podcasts or do content like that. Like, who would you trust more, back in the day, things were kind of different with this whole cannabis thing. It wasn't like how it is today, with social media. Everything was more low key. You had to know a guy who knew a guy, or you had to fucking know the plug, or if you were the plug, you had to move a certain way. Things were a lot different. And building that trust and building that confidence and being consistent is what's going to keep you in the game. Going forward in 2026 and beyond, you got to get out there, make some content, man. Get your face out there. Obviously, don't, post anything, illicit or illegal. We're not out here selling anything. If you know, work in that gray area, figure out what to do. But you got to be making content, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Man, you got to get in front of the camera, introduce people to your brand, and build that trust, build that confidence, and just get to it, man. You got to win. You got to figure out a plan and do it. You can go over to our Instagram _premium91. Also here on YouTube, search up, at premium91. You can find us there. Obviously, this channel is where I'm doing, my podcast and doing talks and stuff like that. We just officially dropped our first piece. It's gonna be this Satan tea, Premium 91. We're doing our thing. Go over to our Instagram, give us a follow, check us out, man. See what I'm doing, man. See what you could apply to your brand. If you need anything, any help, man, send me a DM. Drop it in the comments. Are you creating content for your cannabis brand in 2026?